Hi, boys and girls. Welcome to your writing lesson for today for lesson 7, our seventh day into our unit 3 poetry unit. So, how are you guys liking it so far? I hope that you're really enjoying it. So, for reading today, you read with Miss Puentes the poem Advice by Dan Gerber, where he used the implied metaphor of a worm to crawling into the ground and just to compare his feelings of how he felt about his friend saying those hurtful things to him, right? So today we're going to do the same thing. We're going to revise those metaphors that we created in lesson 6. Do you remember that? Using the animals characteristics to create our own poem today. So let's dive into our lesson for today. So the first thing we do before we even start writing is brainstorming to get those juices flowing to help us start thinking about what we're going to write today. So it's always important to talk about revision, to work on those steps and to start to organize your thoughts. So that's what we're going to do today before we begin our poetry. Before we do that, let's quick, great question to start thinking about before we dive into our lesson is things you do in a typical day. So, do you I know we brush our teeth. What do you eat you eat breakfast? You make your bed. So here in this table, in this box here, you're going to list some things you typically do for today. And that's going to help us get those thinking juices started, right? Okay, so boys and girls, it's very, very important that you have in mind the metaphor that you completed yesterday. So right here, I have the assignment that you completed yesterday, 6.2, where we took we created similes and metaphors using our figurative language to describe the actions of an animal, right? So you picked characteristic from list A and B, and you match them together to create your own simile on number 2. And then for 3, you made your own metaphor. So number 3, the metaphor that you made here is what we're going to be using today for our lesson for today. So again, boys and girls, that metaphor that you made yesterday that you created on 6.2, we're going to put right here. So where it says write down that metaphor you wrote in the previous lesson, that is what you're going to write right here in our box, right? So I'm going to go ahead and do it with you. So yesterday, my simile and metaphor was over regarding the singing of a bird. So we know that birds sing so beautifully. You might hear them in the morning, early when you wake up in the morning while you're at school, or you might see them at the grocery store, anywhere around where you go to the park. They sing so beautifully. So that's what I wrote my metaphor and simile about. So say I'm going to copy that same metaphor here on number 1, and it said the bird is a choir. Because we know that my simile said the bird sings beautifully like a choir. With a metaphor, we know that we don't use like or as. We just state that that thing is the thing, right? So we don't say the bird is like a beautiful choir, or the bird is like a choir, sings like a choir. We just say the bird is a choir. So that is our metaphor. So for number 2, it asks you to think of you're going to think of some other actions that this animal might do or represent a human situation, right? So we know that they can, one of an example of something a bird does that is much like a human is what? They sing joyfully. Don't they seem happy, right? When they're excited. So they're excited. They are joyful, right? So are birds sing joyfully. Right? So we're going to stop right here and come back and continue our 7.2.